Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So I'm consistent. I take the side of the Ukrainian people under occupation and the Palestinian people under occupation. I'm consistent.
No, you're not. They're totally different situations.
You have to say that because you're not consistent.
And you have to say what you say.
No, but I literally described it. 2 people's under foreign occupation, 2 people's having their hospitals bombed, 2 people's having their kids killed, 2 people facing governments to say genocidal stuff. Yeah, I'm consistent.
One is a democracy and an ally of the West, and one is not.
ally of the West. What little slip in there? What's that got to do with anything? So allies of the West get to be genocidal?
No.
Why did you say ally of the West?
I don't believe what they're doing in.
So if Russia was an ally of the West, they could kill people in Ukraine.
I don't believe what they're doing in Gaza is genocide. You do. I don't. Well, genocide is the complete.
Put genocide to one side. Whether we agree or not on genocide, and it is genocidal.
It's not genocide.
You just said they're your ally of the West. Why is that relevant?
I think it's important. You support.
So if you're an ally of the West, you get to kill kids.
No, you get.
So why is it relevant?
You support.
You're making my point for me, because I'm consistent. I don't care whether you're an ally of the West or an enemy of the West.
Fine.
I care about what you do.
Yes.
And Russia and Israel both committing war crimes.
Mehdi, here's my point. You are so blindly anti-Israel that you frame everything.
I could say the same thing about Russia.
I'm very blindly against Russia.
Okay, that's again. So you're inconsistent.
Are you not?
Exactly, I'm consistent. I'm blindly anti-occupying Russia that occupies Ukraine, and I'm blindly anti an Israel that occupies Gaza. By the way, another area I'm consistent is I do think both wars need to come to an end, and they're going to come to an end through some sort of negotiation. I don't believe in prolonged conflict. I don't know. I'm not negotiating.
What's
I don't believe there's a military solution to either conflict.
Give me the solution.
I don't have one. Do you have a military solution? I don't think there is one.
We can't possibly give Putin what he's taking.
No, I agree.
So how do you do it?
I don't know, but I don't think the military continuing helps. I mean, how do you win militarily? I don't know how that
Would
works.
you said that in World War II?
What do you mean?
When the Nazis were trying to take over the world?
No, there was a plausible plan to win, wasn't there? When the US came in?
Just to fight them.
And there were no nuclear weapons back then, Piers, as you know.
Okay, but you think Putin would ever use them?
Do you not think he would?
No. Why would he? He's not an Islamic fundamentalist who wants to blow himself up.
Oh, that's a very racist thing to say.
It's not.
You're saying only Muslims want to use nuclear weapons?
No, I said Islamic.
Why would Putin not want to use?
I said Muslim. I said Islamic fundamentalists.
Why is it Islamic fundamentalists?
Because Islamic fundamentalists kill themselves to get what they want.
But they haven't used nukes. The only people who've used nukes in history are the United States of America.
You're missing my point deliberately, and you're playing.
No, because I just
playing the race card stupidly.
You're playing weird asides, Piers. You're bringing in Western allies.
I'm asking you a question about whether I thought Russia would use nukes. No, because
the only people who would are Islamic fundamentalists.
They do not behave. He does not think like an Islamic fundamentalist, where they will kill themselves to get their goals.
You know, the United States of America used a nuclear weapon, Piers, right? They're not Islamic fundamentalists.
Shalom again. Shalom to the elect. Shalom to the Yakin pushing and laboring in this truth. Double honor to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, whom will teach well, who taught us this truth. This is your brother Yashamai from the GMS Atlanta camp. And I came across that video, and I may end up playing, a couple sections of it. We are truly living in the end times because, well, let's go ahead and let the scripture speak. I've got a couple precepts pulled up, and then, we'll just see, what comes, where the Spirit leads. So this is Daniel 12, verse 4. It says, "But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased." And so the scripture talks about knowledge being increased in the end days. And that video is a perfect example of the knowledge being increased, because even though the world may not be able to accept who Esau Edom is, being the devil, even though people may not be able to fully understand what the scriptures truly say, they are beginning to increase in knowledge, and some of that knowledge leads us to, well, it's mentioned in 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 3. It says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition." Now, this is the knowledge. This is part of that knowledge that would be increased in the end times. See, the first part of the scripture, we understand that falling away was the Israelites, forgetting who they were, which was scriptural. We'll get that in Jeremiah 17, verse 4. One thing that I'm going to try and focus on as I do videos, as the elder Apostle Gabar, he mentions it. Well, really all of the apostles, we have people that are coming into this truth, every day. And so though, I may be doing a video that I know that other brothers may be able to understand what the scriptures say, but just for the due diligence, for the sake of those that are, new into this truth, we have to prove all things. So for that reason, I'm gonna, give the understanding as taught by the elders and the apostles of GMS to that first part of 2 Thessalonians. All right, so that first part in 2 Thessalonians talked about a falling away, And that falling away was prophesied in Jeremiah 17, verse 4. It says, "And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever." So this scripture was a prophecy that Paul was quoting here in Second Thessalonians, the falling away, us discontinuing from our heritage, which, matter of fact, let's go back to Deuteronomy 28, and we'll get right here. It says 64 right here, yeah, 64. "And the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, shall scatter thee." Who is the thee? This is the Israelites, so-called blacks, natives, and Hispanics. "The Most High shall scatter thee among all the people from the one end of the earth, even unto the other." Now, let's go back here, because this is exactly what happened and is mentioned in Jeremiah 17 and 4. "I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not." Do you see how that lines up here? From the one end of the earth, even unto the other. And so, you might have some scoffers that, might come on the page and say, "Oh, no, but, this was already done." No, because it says specifically from one end of the earth, even to the other. The other end of the earth, America, this couldn't have happened during what a Christian might call the Old Testament times, because America had not been discovered yet. So this is a future prophecy, because the other end of the earth, it's talking about America specifically. "And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone." So this is us discontinuing from our heritage. And, that's also part of the knowledge that would be increased, right? Because for the longest time, we were praying a white Jesus, or any other false doctrine, or any other doctrine, including other camps that don't abide by the 100% truth as is taught by GMS. That all of that is witchcraft, okay? All right, because the scripture says to eat the whole roll. Now we've ate the whole roll, and our spirit can accept it. Matter of fact, spirit of the prophets, subject to the prophet. Okay, so now let's get this. 1 Corinthians 14 and 32, "And the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets." And so the reason that your spirit can accept it, because if your spirit can accept it now, in your past lives, you were in the truth. You could be part of the 144,000, which are chosen, which have been predestinated according to Ephesians 1 verse 4 to be saved, or you could be part of the innumerable multitude as well, okay? But the point is now we've ate the whole roll, and the knowledge has been increased. But going back to the topic of this video, it says, "And that man of sin be revealed." See, Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, being shown to the world, that's prophecy. And that's why I say we are truly living in the end times, man. Okay, because, 15, 20 years ago, you would never come across a video like this, man, where this guy is getting torn to shreds, man. And he's being torn to shreds by another reporter. His name is Mehdi. Yeah, Mehdi Hassan right there. It says right there. It says, "Expose Piers Morgan's," man. That's the spirit, man. Because, matter of fact, we'll get that in Jeremiah 49 and 10. We'll get that. Jeremiah 49 and 10. Now, check out the beauty of this scripture, okay? Now, I'm bringing this scripture up. I should have had it on deck, but I'm bringing this scripture up because of the title. It says right here, it says, "Mehdi Hassan exposed Piers Morgan's pro-Western bias." Now, Mehdi Hassan, though he looks to be, a Ishmaelite, right? And we say he looks to be because, Israel is called a speckled bird. The Most High told Abraham that his descendants would be as the sand of the sea. So we the Israelites are we are going to look like Edomites. We are going to look like Ishmaelites. So I say that this guy Mehdi, who looks to be an Ishmaelite, because he could be an Israelite, who knows? But the point is that even if he's an Ishmaelite, he's exposing Esau Edom, which is who Pierce Morgan is a representative of. Okay, and now check this out though. Mehdi's doing it. He's doing it through his worldly understanding, right? Because he's a reporter. He's good at history, and Scripture goes into that. You shall have a shame for glory, right? Roughly paraphrasing, but check this out though, okay? Because Esau can only be made bare fully. I mean, he's being made bare to the masses somewhat, but then the scripture also states that he would lift up the skirt and peel back the foreskin. Esau can only be made 100% bare to the Israelites that can accept this truth. To specifically the 1/3, because because it's the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai that shows him to you. Now, let me go back to my point. Okay, even though Mehdi is exposed and pierced, does not the scripture say in Proverbs 21, the king's heart is in the hand of the Most High? Well, if the king's heart is in the hand of the Most High, well, so is everybody else, man. So Mehdi, right, is being used as a servant. Yeah, I'm going to use that word, as a servant of the Most High, to expose Esau. Okay, now I want to qualify why I use that word. King of Babylon, my servant. Let's get that. Jeremiah 27:6. And now have I given all these lands into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant, and the beasts of the field have I given him also to serve him. So for somebody that may be coming across the page, oh, he said Mehdi is his servant. Well, yeah, he is his servant in the same way that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, was the servant of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Now, does that mean that the king of Babylon was saved? No, but he was a servant in the manner that he did the will of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and at that specific time, the will of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai was to take the southern captivity. Was to take the southern kingdom into captivity, Salakia. So now I'm gonna go back here. So Mehdi, now that we've qualified that wording, Mehdi is being used as a servant by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai to expose Esau, to expose Pierce Morgan to the world, but even furthermore, to expose Esau to those that are coming into this truth, man. Because again, like the elders, like the elders tell us, people are coming into the truth every single day. So, we have to kind of make sure that we qualify things and we can prove all things, right? So it says, I have uncovered his secret places. So the beauty of this scripture here is that Esau cannot be made bare unless the Most High himself makes him bare. And the Most High himself will make him bare to you if the Most High is dealing with you. See, why do I say that? Because somebody could watch, you could have a 2/3 Israelite, you could have Edomite watch this, and this guy gets totally obliterated, and Esau won't be made bare. They will still give you an excuse as to why the self-proclaimed white man can be saved, man. So that's why I say, the beauty of this scripture is that the Most High himself has made him bare to your eyes if you can accept this truth. See, he has uncovered his secret places through to you, through his servants, right? First and foremost, the prophets, but also through his servants, which in this case looks to be an Ishmaelite. It says, and he shall not be able to hide himself. And Pierce Morgan had nothing to say, man. Because again, not to be long-winded, but we were never. Stuff like this would could never have gone viral, 30 years ago. All right? It says, he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled. Now, this is the hope to come. Oh, what do you mean? This is the hope to come? Yes. See, when the scripture talks about the Most High's people being saved, it also talks about a war, okay? A war in heaven, specifically, in the book of Revelations, the 12th chapter. All right, which, no, that's not talking about a spiritual war between, a horned, guy with a pitchfork. No, it's talking about, it's talking about Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus, coming down to fight Esau, Edom, and these other nations, Esau, or the beast, and, the beast and the 10 horns, right, which is America, and the beast system, which include NATO and the EU. So this is our hope. See, our hope is that through the war that Yahweh Shai is going to come down here and win, right? Whenever there's a war, there's always a victor. All right, and in this case, the loser is going to be Esau, Edom, which the scriptures say that, he shall go into captivity, but then furthermore, his seed is spoiled. This is our hope. So somebody might come across this page and say, oh, well, that's actually very rude of you, all people can be saved. No. Let's get that in Acts 1, verse 6, man, because this is something that even our forefathers understood. Acts 1 and 6, it says, when they therefore were come together, so this is the apostles, just for context, this is the disciples here, just for context, when Yahweh Shai, is risen, was the very first thing that they asked him. They asked him, saying, Lord, will thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? So let's get that word kingdom in the etymology. Well, kingdom, we can all have kingdoms. No, it says a king's domain. It signifies a territory or people ruled by a king. And we have perfect examples in the book of, I believe it's 1 Kings 7 or 17. I'm not going to go to it, for those that are coming into this truth. It's going to be in 1 Kings 7 or 17. I always get them mixed up, but it talks about King David setting up garrisons in the land of Edom and in the land of Moab. So yes, his seed being spoiled is our hope, and there's nothing wrong with it. Even the psalmist David says, do not I hate them that hate thee with a perfect hatred? So, and a Christian will tell you all day, David was a man after the Most High's own heart. Yeah, he was, and that was his prayer. His prayer was that he hated those that hate the Most High. All right, but let's continue on. It says, and the beasts of the field that I have, Salakia, 49, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. So who are the brethren? Well, first and foremost, prophecy tells us that Babylon, which is America, spiritually known as Egypt, as mentioned in Revelations 11, verse 8, it says, the scripture talks about Babylon being destroyed, but we also know that Esau has brothers, right? Because Esau is the progenitor of these other, so-called white tribes. From Esau comes the British. From Esau comes the French. From Esau comes the so-called Ish people. From Esau comes the so-called German people, French and Spaniards also, right? But Canadians. I mean, these people are all over. But the point here is that even though the prophecies say that America is going to be destroyed, the reason it says and his brethren is because that's all of the Edomites. There ain't going to be no French guy. America's not going to get blown up. But then if there's an American in Africa, in South Africa, for example, he's not going to be saved. No, it says and his brethren, everybody related to him, and he is not, and that's the hope. So now, from there, I want to go back, and I want to come to this precept here, okay? Because as we saw the guy Mehdi beautifully tearing into Piers Morgan, that also is prophecy. Joel 3 verse 10. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Now, we bring this precept up because this precept is talking about in the end times when the weak nations such as Iran, such as China. China was, today, no, today China is not a weak nation, but, 20 years ago, China was a weak, 30 years ago, 50 years ago. Check out, check out the time during Mao, these were weak nations. Venezuela, super weak nation. But the point is that this scripture is used in prophecy to talk about how these other nations are going to get together and go to war and fight this whore, which is America. But the point that I'm trying to, the reason that I'm bringing this precept up is because let the weak say, I am strong. You couldn't, assuming that Mehdi is an Ishmaelite, you couldn't see this, several years back. This is the weak, right? Ishmael, beginning to wake up and say, no, man, we're not going to take it. And he's exposing them. But this is a part that I want to hone in on this. Now, this is the, this is the really point of this video here, okay?
Okay, but you don't think Putin would ever use them?
Do you not think he would?
No. Why would he? He's not an Islamic fundamentalist who wants to blow himself up.
Oh, that's a very racist thing to say.
It's not.
You're saying only Muslims want to use nuclear?
No, I said Islamic.
Why would Putin not want to use?
I said Muslim. I said Islamic fundamentalist.
Why is Islamic fundamentalist?
Because Islamic fundamentalists kill themselves to get what they want.
But they haven't used nukes. The only people who've used nukes in history are the United States of
You're missing
America.
my point deliberately, and you're playing.
No, because I just like
you're playing the race card stupidly.
This is the pride of these people. Let's get Obadiah. Obadiah. Well, matter of fact, we don't even have to go to Obadiah. Let's just go to the next verse here. Going into the man of sin, the man of perdition, Esau Edom, being exposed, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called the Most High or that is worshipped. So he, as the Most High, sits in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. And the part of the scripture that I want to hone in is this one right here, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called the Most High. The reason that I want to bring this precept up is because even while they're killing you and nuking you, they are telling you that they're better than you. Because what did he say? Well, I don't think Putin would use it. Why? Because he's an Edomite. And here it is. Piers Morgan, he's anti-Putin, right? But here it is. Even while he's anti-Putin, he still believes, these people still believe that while they're blowing up the world and, committing mass atrocities, they are still better than you while they're murdering you. I don't think the Edomite will do it because, the ugly brown people, because the mind is different. That is the reason why I bring up this precept, because he thinks that the Most High executes judgment, okay? And the Most High executes judgment, and he has a purpose and a reason for it, all right? He is a righteous judge. And that's what these people think. These people think that they are like the Most High. These people think that they have the right to, go and invade another country. That they have the right to that they have a right to murder you as a nation. And while they're murdering you as a nation, if you begin to lift up a sword, they're still better than you while they're chopping you down with a machine gun. That's the mind of these people, man. And so now you have to ask yourself, is there any salvation for these Edomites? Of course not, man. I got this pulled up here. We'll go ahead and pull this up because he brought up the G side, which, we'll go ahead and get into it. And we'll probably end up closing out here soon. I didn't mean to go on for too long. It says, I just typed in, has Israel been charged with G side? And why? Israel has been charged with G-side, and these Edomites, they don't want to admit it, okay? While the ICC is currently hearing a landmark case regarding these allegations, has not yet issued a final verdict. Why are they being charged? Because the records indicate over 60,000 Palestinians have been offed since 2023. That is absolute crazy number there. It says, allegations cite the total siege of Gaza, which has led to the widespread famine, destruction of over 80% of schools and all universities. But you're telling me it's not a G sign? Now it says prosecutors and human rights groups point to statements by top of Israel officials, including references to human animals and biblical Amalek associated with total destruction, as direct evidence of intent to destroy the group. And so, what's being brought up here is you don't but matter of fact, we'll just get that in Exodus. Exodus, what does that have like? 18 KJV. It might be 17 when they fight against Amalek. Let's see here. Boom. Oh, right here, yeah. And Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, for I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. The reason that Benjamin Milkowski, he said that they were going to wipe out Amalek. See, these people are, the elites know that, these Ish people know that they themselves are Amalek, but I mean, let's really break that down here. Like, Amalek comes from Esau, okay? How, if Esau came out red, how could Amalek, the so-called Palestinians, be, how can the Palestinians be Amalek if they're a brown people? It doesn't make sense, man. And then furthermore, it says that Amalek would be the first of the nations. Who do you see? What group of people do you see owning all of the media? Basically owning the world, man. It's Amalek. It's those 2%ers, man. Okay, so no, yeah, I just wanted to go into that. I don't mean to be too long-winded. I thought this was gonna be like a 15-minute video, but if there's any people that are coming into the truth, hopefully this has been edifying. Hopefully I've been able to qualify every statement. And then I'm gonna just play the video again, and if something catches my ear again, I'll continue on.
It's not, you just said they're your ally of the West. Why is that relevant?
I think it's important. You support.
So if you're an ally of the West, you get to kill kids?
No, you get support.
Why is it relevant?
You support.
You're making my point for me, because I'm consistent. I don't care whether you're an ally of the West or an enemy of the West.
Fine.
I care about what you do.
Yes.
And Russia and Israel both committing war crimes.
Mehdi.
I care. Matter of fact, yeah, that's a good precept to close on. I don't care. He said, I don't care whether you're Israel or Russia. I care about what you do. You shall know them by their fruits. KJV. Let's get that. Let's get that. Matter of fact, let's get that whole. Let's get the. It says right here. It says. It says right here. Even so, every good tree brings forth good fruits. Okay, now here, it's talking about a tree. Yahushua speaking in the parable. Trees are likened unto man. What did the blind man say when Yahushua gave him his vision? I see men as trees. Wasn't King Nebuchadnezzar likened unto a tree in the vision that he had in the book of Daniel? Doesn't the book of Psalms say that you shall be like a tree planted by still water? And there's many more, but the point is that trees, within context throughout the scriptures, is talking about men. So even so, every good man, person, group of people brings forth good fruit, but a corrupt group of people bringeth forth evil fruit. And what did he say? He said, I don't care whether you're Israeli or whether you're a Russian. I care about what you do. And what have we seen this man do? He has brought forth nothing but death, man. Let's get that. What, John 10 and 10? I believe it's John 10 and 10. There you go, yeah. And John 10 and 10 says, a thief cometh not but for to steal, kill, and destroy. That's what these Edomites have been doing since they got on this planet, man. That's what these Edomites have been doing since they got into power. First Maccabees goes into that. After Alexander dies, first Maccabees says, then were great evils multiplied upon the earth. Why? Because the Edomites began to reign. And all these Edomites, whether they're the French, whether they're British, whether they're the Spaniards, whether they're the Germans, whether they're the Greeks, whether they're the Romans, whether they're the revised Roman Empire, all these Edomites have done is what? Steal, kill, and destroy. They've stolen land, they've stolen the heritage, they've killed the saints. The book of Revelation talks about the whore was drunken with the blood of the saints. And to destroy, they're destroying the earth, they're polluting the water, they're even destroying the music I mean, good gosh, this is the one. I am come that they might have a life and that they might have it more abundantly. But the point here is as Manny said, I care about what they do, their actions. You shall know a tree by its fruit. Their actions show you that they are the Edomites. Hopefully, this has been edifying. Until the next one, shalom.